Talking to an online audience is a little bit different from talking to real people in a room. You can't get away with as many things as you could have got away with in person. They haven't got all the virtual cues that they can read off you. You don't have time to do all the sort of waffle that you might have because people are quickly going to be sidetracked into doing something else. They've got their laptops in front of them. They can be answering emails. They can be dealing with text. They can be dealing with all sorts of stuff. And while they're doing that, they might look like they're engaged, but they're not. They're missing the point of what you have to say and all the things that you want them to do afterwards to like you, to refer you, to buy from you, to come back next time for more, to follow you and engage with you when they need your services is not going to happen if they have disengaged from what you have to say. So, how can you liven up what you're saying online? First of all, I've said it before and I will say it again, compress what you have to say. Be shorter, be tighter, be quicker with the points that you have to make. The next thing is to be lively. Now, nothing is worse than a dull, monotone voice reading the points off a screen. You need to modulate your voice more than you normally would, change your speech rhythms, throw in the odd silly joke, whatever works with your personality and potentially the relationships with people you have on the call. You could sort of make a joke about someone that everybody knows on the call if that's going to work, and obviously if they would enjoy that too. But the key is to be a little bit unpredictable, keep things lively, throw a few things into the mix. One way of doing that is to call on specific people that you know might actually be watching. And as we all know, it's very easy to check out essentially in an online meeting. But if people think, oh gosh, you might be calling on me, that's going to keep them all a little bit more alert. They don't want to be the person who fumbles and oh, how do I press myself mute? Oh, I didn't hear what you just said. So that's one way of keeping everybody engaged. It'll certainly wake up the first person that you call. Also, think about sending any of the kind of dull bits of your talk, the stuff that you might have to have in there, but that's a bit boring. Send that as a pre-reading ahead of the presentation. That way, you can refer to it. You don't have to give it all the detail. If anyone hasn't read it, that will certainly make sure that they then look it up. And you don't have to have included that into your short, tight, lively, and engaging script. Excuse me, the other way to do that is be interesting. Now, easier said than done. What I mean by that is that the points that you make should be the interesting points. The boring stuff's gone ahead in pre-reading. You want to be giving people lots of aha moments. And the best way to ever get people to really get the aha in what you're saying is to have told them stories about things that they can imagine. So you are helping to use their imagination to tell stories, painting pictures with words. So chuck the odd imagine into and examples and similes, and it's like this and it's like that, so that people can get what you're saying rather than just be told what you do. The other thing you can do is to interrupt your own flow. So maybe say, oh, I've got some questions for you guys in the chat box, completely forgot to mention it. Or, oh, do you remember earlier when I started talking to you about that? Well, actually, what I mean is this. All this sort of thing, little side points, little explanations, that is interrupting your flow, and it also interrupts people's concentration a little bit, makes them start to click in back to what you were saying. It's like if you suddenly, had somebody with a monster face just run in front of my screen. Now that would make you all jump up. It would just be an interruption, and sometimes throwing those in every now and then gets people focused and back in and switched on. All these little things. Now, I am going to say that the reason you can do this and get away with it is because you're still a human being. And that's really important. We don't want to be listening to a robot avatar presenting to us on screen. So if there is the odd or if you go, oh, do you know what? I completely forgot my point, but that reminds me of this. It's very human and it's very engaging and it's very relatable because it's what we would do in a normal conversation. So feel that you can throw that into a presentation. It will keep people listening to you, and it will also make them feel and see your human side and therefore like you a bit more and hopefully want to listen to you a bit more.